We can't lose the project we've been working on. It's far too important. The People's Guarantee was that important, about getting Ontario back on track. This isn't about me. This isn't about the PC party. This is about making sure that on June 7th, the Progressive Conservative Party is successful.
And that was Patrick Brown moments after leaving the PC party office, after he threw his name in the ring to try and get his old job back as leader of the PC party. And joining me again here is Jim Warren, who is a Liberal strategist. Can Patrick Brown get his name back and rise from the ashes here?
He's definitely trying. You know, it's sort of a page from the Sheila Copps playbook, where Sheila Copps years ago ran an election, made promises, and then she resigned and then ran again in her own seat in order to get over this commitment that she'd talked about getting rid of the GST. So he's going through this process. It was interesting to see last Sunday he made this Facebook post. He got so many likes and retweets and reshares and everything else that I think that really kicked off the momentum. He's like, hey, wait a second, I can maybe revitalize myself. And that's the real, I think, thing that's upsetting a lot of Conservatives today is it looks like Patrick Brown put his name forward today to salvage his reputation in his career rather than try and have the Conservatives win the next election. And
can this cause the Conservatives to lose the next election? I mean, how can this be good for the Conservatives right now?
This is all-out civil war, and so you're seeing now it's political fratricide, brother, sister, killing each other, fighting. Leadership debates are the most sort of bloodiest blood sport of politics as it is, and this has just been magnified and amplified by 10. So it's going to be a real challenge. Again, Kathleen Wynne will win or lose the next election based on things she does, not on things that Conservatives do. But
or will they lose? I mean, I remember in the last election, I thought Kathleen Wynne didn't win the election. Tim Hudak lost the election. Are we going to see that again?
It's going to depend really who wins the leadership. If it's a candidate who can pull the party together in short order, then they still have a shot. If it's a candidate who's a very polarizing figure, if it's Patrick Brown or Doug Ford, I think the party will sort of really implode and kill itself and turn on itself, and there'll be candidates that quit. It's going to be really interesting. The other fascinating thing is there's a lot of Brown loyalists have gone to the other party's camps.
Right.
Will they peel off over this weekend? Will they go to the other candidate? And let's face it, it's the first week of March is the voting. March 10th is when all the ballots are counted. This is a really, really quick turnaround for an announcement today that has really shaken the party and shocked and surprised a lot of people.
Patrick Brown has gotten a lot of support because a lot of people thought he got a raw deal, that this story came out that has now been pulled back a little bit by CTV. They've acknowledged there were a couple of mistakes in the story. Is he getting a fair shake, and has he handled himself properly?
Well, you know, I don't think there should have been a big surprise that this type of issue would come up for Patrick Brown because he had this sort of self-acknowledged playboy lifestyle. I think the three people to blame are, number one, caucus turned on him right away. They were worried about winning and saving their seats in the next election. Two, when the staff quit, that was like the dog whistle being blown to all political insiders. The staff are usually the last ones to go. They're supposed to remain on the boat and let it go down with the ship. They didn't. They quit.
And went to Caroline Mulroney.
And went right away very quickly. And the biggest person, honestly, to blame is Patrick Brown. He really killed himself when he went out and did that news conference. And so if he hadn't done that news conference, if he'd sort of given it a day and a half to breathe, he would have had a better chance. And so that's one of the interesting things, Liberals or Conservatives, NDP, is there's such a big pressure now in 24-hour news cycle and social media to respond all the time. And often if you just take a few sort of hours or maybe a day upon reflection, you can sort of save your butt and not go down like Patrick Brown did.
So the bottom line is, which of the candidates, there are now 5, would best be suited to beat Kathleen Wynne?
It's really tough to say. I mean, Christine Elliott has that sort of track record, but she'd really quit and seemed like she was bitter about politics. Mulroney has the cachet, she's got the looks, she's got the pizzazz. She doesn't have the experience. And so then you have these other two alternatives. And I think a big reason why Patrick Brown wants to A, redeem himself and refix his name, and B, he's looking at this slate of candidates and saying, hey, I've got a real shot here. I could win. And look, it's kind of like the Donald Trump phenomena. Just win the nomination, and then we'll see what happens in the general election. And that's why you see this sort of real infighting and the candidates talking about sex ed curriculum and the carbon tax. These are issues that are wedge issues for the small amount of PC members that they're going to try and get the most votes for March 10th, and then they'll try and undo all the damage they do and run a broad-based campaign.
They sure don't have much time. Jim Warren, thank you so very much for joining us here tonight.